What up, what up, what up? It's the Guillotine Geeks. We're out here, Vegas 71 at the Apex. We out here. It's Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. We're going to kick it off from the bottom to the top. We got Tyson Nam versus Bruno Silva. Dano, what you got in this one? We'll mix it up.
I see a lot of people are on Tyson Nam, and even though he is the underdog, and looking at his last performance, he got the knockout over Ode Osborne, which was a pretty good performance by him. I'm gonna stick by Bruno Silva. I know that he's been working with Henry Cejudo, and he doesn't really look too bad in his past fights either. I know Tyson Nam is getting up there in age. Silva's just a really technical, really just like stays within the lines when fighting, whereas Tyson Nam can throw bombs, get a little wild here and there. So with his age getting up there, he also does have 12 losses. He is 21, 12, and 1. So there are some holes in Nam's game. Um, Ode looked pretty good against Nam in that last fight, and then Ode went for that jumping knee, missed, and Nam capitalized. So good on his part. But for this one, I'm gonna stick with the more straight line technique guy with Bruno Silva.
Yeah, I like what you're thinking. Tyson, what I'm thinking on my side, Tyson, he did have a good couple good performances, but 7 year age gap. Um, Bruno Silva, like you said, working with Cejudo, and you know, I think I just might. I think that our boy Bruno Silva is going to come in, have a good game plan on the ground, take him down, and just try to stop what Tyson could do on the feet. But I'm going to ride Bruno Silva as well. What you got, CEO?
I'm kind of on the same page as both of you guys, man. I think that Bruno Silva is the younger guy with a higher ceiling at this weight class. I think we've seen a lot of Tyson Nam, and it's not going to be anything spectacular. I think it's the proof's kind of in the pudding for a guy like Tyson Nam. I like Bruno Silva. I like his I like the adjustments that he's going to be making coming into this fight. I like who he's getting some good training with. I think that he's going to be the more improved fighter who will have more skills. So I like his stand up game. I like him. I like his jits. I think he's got more ways to win. So yeah.
All right, we're all over that one. Next one up, we got a that one was also a featherweight scrap. I mean flyweight, my bad. And next one up, Victor Henry versus Tony Gravely, bantamweight. I'm gonna ride with Victor Henry, La Mangosta, the boy. Had him on for an interview. Go check it out. But yeah, this boy, he's got good jits. He's got good just about everything. He's super well rounded, super a lot of experience under his belt. And but yeah, with Tony Gravely, I think he's kind of like the pressure wrestler type of guy. He's gonna try to put you up against the fence, make you grind, and he's just a grinded out type of fighter. I think that Victor, he's really good with distance, and if he could just keep him away, use his leg kicks, he's gonna have an advantage. If Tony gets him to the ground, he's not going to spend much time down there. He has submission threats, and he's just going to work his way back up and keep it at his feet. But give me Victor Henry on this one. What you got, Dano?
I'm with you. I like Victor Henry in this one. Although Victor Henry, we've seen two different types of him in the UFC. Him against Ronnie Barcelos looked very good. Kind of looked like an elite fighter in the sense. And then he goes on and he fights Assuncao. And Assuncao was just kind of a bad style matchup for him. Assuncao does take him down over and over again in that fight, which kind of leaves me a little with some worries in this one because Gravely is a wrestler. That's mainly what he is. He's kind of that stereotypical wrestler who is good with the wrestling, good with the takedowns, and only has throws bombs on the feet. So if Victor Henry can channel his self from the Ronnie Barcelos fight, who was stuffing takedowns, Barcelos is not a bad wrestler. If he can stuff some of Tony's takedowns, whereas and keep Tony on the feet. Tony doesn't have that pace on the feet. He's not going to be in your face throwing jabs, jabs, jabs. He's going to look for that bomb. And I think that's a good matchup for Victor Henry, who is elusive, who's got good footwork, who's got good head movement. As long as he stuffs some takedowns, and I'm hoping he does, especially in that last fight where he did get taken down, he knows he's got to work on that. Like you were saying, front kick. He's got a lot of experience under that belt, so he's gonna know what's going on in this fight. He is a people pleaser. This will be in an arena full of people. I think that'll get the juices flowing. I think this is a good matchup, especially if it stays on the feet against Tony Gravely. So yes, I'm with you. I'm taking Victor Henry.
Oh, I'm loving his odds on the feet. What you got, Mace?
I'm riding the train, baby. Victor Henry. Let's go. Former Geeks Chat alum. Buddy brings the battle, to say the least. This is a fucking tough ass dude. This guy is next to impossible to put away. And in a fight where, Gravely has a lot of his success getting big overhand knockouts, riding out control time and whatnot. Victor Henry's not that kind of guy that's going to get, just straight up wet blanketed or bombshelled. If you're going to beat Victor Henry, you're going to need to outclass him in multiple facets of the fight game. And I don't think Tony Gravely is just at that level yet. I think we're going to see a very, very, very awesome performance from Victor Henry in a scrap where he's going to need to take some shots and give them back in volume. So I'm taking Victor Henry by late stoppage in this one.
Boom, late stoppage. You heard it here first. Next fight up, we got JJ Aldrich against the Queen of Violence, Ariane Lipski. At Ariane Lipski's dropping down from bantamweight to flyweight. So I'm gonna go with Vegas's favorite on this one, heavy favorite around minus 320, JJ Aldrich. I just think she's better than she looks. She could go out there and get the job done. She's a higher caliber than I think Ariane Lipski and what she's got to bring to the table. But yeah, I see her having some timely moments in these rounds and stacking up some damage. So but yeah, Dano, what you got?
I'm with you. What I'm really looking at in this fight is, of course, we always talk about this in the women's fight. I like the over 2.5. We did see Lipski get put out in her last fight. But she also does have a little bit of finishing ability herself. But on the flip side of that, going with Aldridge, who I will be picking in this fight, Aldridge is pretty much good everywhere around, except she's not really a huge threat in one instance of the game. So it's one of those fights where she can just really out technique Lipski, maybe get a couple takedowns here and just ride it out into the later rounds, maybe even go into decision, which I think is definitely possible. But if I see this fight ending, I see it being in Lipski's favor, but I just think Aldridge is a little too durable for that. And she's also not much of a threat to finish Lipski. So it's just kind of a weird style matchup, but I'm with you, Fish, in the sense of I'm taking Aldridge. Don't love the odds. But yeah, that's going to be what I'm riding with.
Yep, over decision. What you got, boss man?
Yeah, man, we're all on the page. JJ, I'm taking JJ. I think that top control is going to be the biggest factor in this fight. Lipski likes to get off on all these weird submissions and whatnot. JJ is a rock. She is she's very, positionally aware when she's in her grappling exchanges, and I love that, especially in this fight. She's definitely not a small girl for the division, which is going to help with that top pressure. So give me JJ. I'm riding the decision as well.
All right. The next scrap up, a bantamweight scrappage. Mario Bautista against Guido Ninja Cannetti. Dano, what you got?
I'm all over Bautista in this one. This kind of just seemed a little too obvious because I know Bautista is super favored in the odds department. But everything's in his favor. He's riding a lot of momentum. I do know Guido's riding a little bit of momentum. I think he's on a 2-fight win streak, but he's getting up there in age. He's over 43 years old, and he's a striker, which usually you see the older guys in the wrestling department where you're really not taking as much damage, whereas on the feet, especially against a guy like Bautista, who is at the MMA lab out in Arizona, I believe, who that's a really good camp. He has been progressively getting better and better in each fight. His last fight with Brian Kelleher, he even put Kelleher out via sub, even better than Nurmagomedov did, which good praise to Bautista. He's kind of one of those guys who's like just real sneaky and low key. He's not big on the mic. He's not big on social media, but he is an absolute killer in the octagon. So I'm all over him this one. I think if you are going to bet on him, you got to pick either sub or TKO just to get some value out of him. And I do not mind seeing a submission in the later rounds.
I 100% agree with what you're saying. Mario's odds are higher than Valentina's last week, so watch out. Definitely go for the sub or knockout. And but yeah, we got a big age gap. Guido has been doing good, like you said. Found himself 2 finishes in his last fight, 2 fights. But yeah, I'm just gonna have to ride with Mario on this one. Dangerous on the ground, got good stand up, younger, and but yeah, what you got, boss?
I'm taking Bautista, man, and I'm taking him submission. And I don't even know if this is going to get to later rounds. I know Guido Cannetti is known for, his exciting fight style. He definitely is a dangerous fighter. Don't get me wrong. I look at the line on this fight, and I hate to say that it's not where it should be, because this is a mismatch in my eyes. But you have to factor in that Guido Cannetti is a little bit dangerous. And for that reason, I think this fight ends faster than usual, just given the fact that you don't want to be in the ring for a long time with a guy like Guido Cannetti. So I think Mario Bautista comes out, shoots a hard double leg, gets right to where he's got to get, rear naked choke. So I'm taking round 1 sub, Bautista, keeping it simple, keeping it Ferda.
Bada bing, bada boom. We got next up the one, the only, the Reaper, Cedricus Dumas. We got SD versus Josh Fremd. Fremd coming off that super guillotine loss to Tresean Gore. SD making his debut, coming off Contender Series finish. But yeah, I mean, Cedricus, the boy is long, he's tall, he's got good striking, got good ground game. I'm riding with SD on this one. What you got, Dan O?
Of course, I'm riding with Dumas as well. I think that his hands will just be too much for Fremd. Fremd, not a terrible fighter, but we've seen the holes in his game the past couple fights, and he's just got too many of them for me to confidently pick him. Dumas is dangerous, and he's dangerous everywhere. We saw in the Contender Series, the hands were working. And then the guy shot on him and he threw up a wicked guillotine. So I think that he's pretty much live game everywhere this fight goes, because even though maybe Josh Fremd, I don't know, let's say Josh Fremd's better than him on the ground, where Dumas is no stranger to the ground. He can definitely survive, if not win some ground exchanges. I think the hands will be too much for Fremd. I think this fight will go to the ground at one point, whether it be maybe Dumas shoots on him, because Dumas does have some good takedowns in his arsenal. But I see this one submission or ground and pound TKO. So I'm definitely taking Dumas inside the distance.
Oh man, what we looking?
Bias pick alert, but I'm taking SD, baby. I mean, this is the thing for me, and it's just so Ferda. Like, you see the guillotine that he hit on the Contender Series, and then go back and watch Fremd's last fight where he gets absolutely guillotined like I've never seen before. I mean, this guy just got his head, his shoulders, by Tresean Gore. So take this guy, who's a good guy, gave us a nice Keeks interviews, got a sick gilly against the guy who just got caught in the gilly, both young in the game. Taking SD by Gilly, baby. Let's get it.
The Reaper by submission. Nah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. He is a super long dude. This next fight, though, a scrap we got. It's one that I'm looking forward to. Raphael Assuncao against Davey Grant, a bantamweight scrap. Raphael, we talked about him earlier with Victor Henry. That was his last bout. He got the unanimous decision. Davey Grant, 12-6. Sorry, I think I should be saying these their records here. Raphael 27-9, Davey Grant 12-6. I'm gonna go with Davey Grant. The boy, he's a tough motherfucker, and his losses, Adrian Yanez, Cheeto Vera, these are dogs. These are good dudes. So, and both those dudes by decision, split with Yanez, and with Cheeto was a unanimous decision. But Cheeto, look at him now. Give me Davey Grant to put some hands on this dude. What you got, Dano?
See, I was thinking Davey Grant, and I like Davey Grant in the sense that he's just willing to get into wars. He really doesn't care what happens. He'll go in there and throw. We saw in the Cheeto fight, he's more than willing just to stand and trade. And even if it doesn't end up well for him, he's just one of those sick, twisted dudes who just loves punching and getting punched in the face. But for some reason, I'm picking Assuncao. I just feel like maybe his style is a little weird for Grant. I know Assuncao's when he wants to be, he can be pretty good and even pretty dominant in the wrestling department. If he can just get a couple takedowns, I know it's a lot to ask, maybe a couple takedowns per round. All you gotta do is win 2 rounds, Assuncao. You don't have to knock Grant out because Grant is really durable. Just win 2 rounds. I'm gonna pick Assuncao split decision. I think wrestling will be a big influence in that win, and as long as he doesn't get put out, because he is getting up there in age, and he has some miles on him. But if he doesn't get knocked out, I can see him going to decision, and I'm picking split decision.
Not a bad pick. Plus 120 dog for us and Sal. What you got, boss man?
I'm taking Assuncao too, man. I think that that vet savvy, just knowing where to be in the right spots, not getting to these big, barn brawls. I think he's just gonna be the more technical guy in there. I know Davey Grant poses so many threats, and there might be a couple of spots in this fight where Assuncao does, eat some really hard shots, but I just think for the most part, I think Assuncao's good for it. I mean, it's a 3-round fight. I see Davey Grant's gas tank, not the best. I mean, and Assuncao's going to bring a pace. So, I don't think that whole like drag it out, brawl it out, late rounds, start getting dirty. I don't see that game plan being too effective against a guy like Assuncao who's just so fight IQ vet savvy in there. He's just not going to engage with you in that aspect unless you're completely halting his wrestling game, which I don't see happening. So I'm taking Assuncao as well.
All right, we got 2 out of 3 going for Raphael Assuncao. Next fight up, we got Lukazs the Bull Brzeski against Karl Williams, and this is my bad. This is a heavyweight scrap. These are some big boys. Lukazs is. I'm gonna go with Lukazs on this one. I think that yeah. So with Luke, I'm gonna take Lukazs. With Karl Williams, this is why I'm not gonna pick Karl Williams. I'm just gonna fade the Contender Series pick on this one, and I'm gonna pray that Lukazs gets his big body ass on him for 2 out of 3 rounds. But Dano, what you thinking?
I'm with you. I like Lukazs. I think that he was robbed in his last fight of a decision against Martin Buday. I think he's going to come out here with something to prove. He's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And he's kind of one of those rare heavyweights that has got good footwork. He's got good hand speed, and he just moves well in the octagon. Praying that Karl Williams doesn't really take him down, which I don't think will be too much of a threat. We saw Karl Williams on the Contender Series. A little bit of a boring fight, go to the decision, but Dana saw something and Dana invited him on into the UFC. I'm with you, Fish. I like the fading of the Contender Series guy in here. I think Brzeski, like I said, has got something to prove, and I feel like he's just a little more skilled. I know Karl Williams got some bombs in his hand, but Brzeski's got the footwork. Brzeski, I'm hoping, has got the head movement. And I think as long as this stays on the feet, I could totally see a decision from Brzeski, at least an over 2.5.
I'm liking it. Yeah, Lukazs is a plus 185 dog right now. What you got, boss?
I'm taking Lukazs, and it's a lot to do with just the aggression factor. I mean, I don't know if it was just, I think it was Carl Williams came into the Contender Series on short notice. You know, you're gonna have to fact check me there, but I think that had a lot to do with Dana's decision. And if it wasn't a short notice, it was something that happened with his family or something. Um, but I just didn't see enough like vigor and like it's just not enough aggression for me at this weight class. I think that he's a good wrestler and that if he wins, it'll probably be really boring. But I'm taking Lukazs to just deal more damage throughout 15 minutes. So that's just kind of where I'm at. Definitely a strange fight, not one that I would advise to go crazy on the books for.
Good advice. Good advice. We got yeah, I mean, this next fight, also some big boys, light heavyweight, Victor Petrino against Anton Turkalj. Yeah, with this one, we got another Contender Series guy in Victor Petrino, 7-0 Brazilian. You look at who he's faced. We've got 1-17 guy, 0-6 guy, 0-0 guy. So sketchy record. Anton, 8-1 heavyweight. His only loss is Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida's a donkey. And give me the boy who has only lost to a donkey, knows what it's like to feel one of the best in the heavyweight division right now that's coming up. Give me Anton, the pleasure man. What you got, Dano?
Hey, I'm with you. I like Anton. I'm glad you said that about Jailton Almeida because yes, he did lose Jailton Almeida. It's not a bad loss, right? We've seen what Jailton Almeida is, what he's made of, and definitely not bad. That was also up at heavyweight. It was kind of a short notice. They called Anton in, hey, can you make heavyweight? He said yes, but he weighed in at 218 pounds for a heavyweight fight against the big ass dude in Jailton Almeida. So I'm glad they kept him around, kind of, you scratch my back, I scratch your back for Anton. I think this is a good matchup for him because Anton does have some ground game. Even though he did get subbed by Almeida, he got up 3 times, I believe, in that fight where we know Almeida is a dog on the ground. He's a snake. He's going to keep you there. And once he gets you there, it's going to be bad. But he survived for a respectable amount of time. And this guy he's fighting, Vitor, like you said, bad record, pretty much a padded record, and they're all round one, early round one, round two finishes. So if Anton goes in there and makes it boring, makes it takedowns here, takedowns there, rides him into the later rounds, later second round, third round, I like Anton to get a sub. I'm picking Anton rear naked choke round 3.
Anton sub. I'm liking it. What you got, CEO?
I'm on the same page in a sense where like I do think Anton's going to get grappling off in this fight. I do think that Petrino is going to be in some deep waters at some points, and it's going to come down to if Anton can put him away. I think in the earlier parts of this fight, because I think Petrino, for the guy that he is, he's pretty explosive, he's pretty athletic, and I'm just gonna bank on his gas tank here. I think that Anton's really gonna only have the grappling, and it's gonna come down to he needs takedowns. And I could see Petrino, maybe the first round getting his back taken or something like that, maybe halfway through the second. But I could see the back end of the second and the third being a oh frick, Anton, please survive. And I'm not banking on him surviving, so I'm gonna take Victor Petrino, whatever it is. I'm taking him by third round KO. So kind of like Dano's, but I'm taking the opposite field.
Yeah, definitely not a bad take considering the dude is knocked out 6 of his 7 opponents, so 6 of his 7 wins. But so this next fight, good scrap. That last fight was on the main card, by the way. This is the second fight on the main card. We got Said Nurmagomedov against Jonathan the Dragon Martinez. So bantamweight scrap. Said, these guys are both on 4-fight win streaks. Said, he's well-rounded. Last wins, Cody Stamen, Douglas Silva de Andrade, and Said Yakub, who is no longer in the UFC, but I don't know why they cut him. But Jonathan Martinez, also a game opponent, but I just think that Saeed has faced a little tougher opponents, and he's just slightly more dangerous. If Jonathan gives up a neck, he could grab it. If and I think he in the stand up he can mix it up pretty well. I'm going with Saeed. What you got, Dano?
I'm with you. I like Saeed, and what I like about him is even though he's a Nurmagomedov, he's not known for his wrestling and grappling. This dude is really, really good on the feet, and I'm hoping this is where this fight will take place. Yes, Jonathan Martinez did look really good in his last fight against an older Cub Swanson, but if he wants to stand and trade with Saeed, I think it's going to be a long night for him because, like you were saying, Saeed's got the spinning stuff. He's not going to be there for Jonathan Martinez just to eat up leg kicks like he did against Cub Swanson. Saeed's too good with the footwork in and out, in and out. I think, like you were saying, if Jonathan Martinez wants to take it to the ground, Saeed's no stranger there either. So there's just more possibilities for Saeed to win this fight, and that's who I'm going to stick with.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm taking Saeed too. I think that on the feet, it's going to be extremely close. I'm giving Saeed the slight advantage. And then in the case scenario, anybody gets hurt, shoots for takedowns, or maybe Saeed gets a little antsy, I think Saeed's going to have a better submission game. Wouldn't surprise me the least bit if Jonathan Martinez pulls this off in some way. These guys, this is going to be an awesome fight. Need everyone to understand that. It's going to be an awesome fight. Both these guys have absolute tools in their bag. We are going to see some sick shit. So whatever happens, it's going to be freaking electric, and we're guaranteed 15 minutes of awesomeness. But I'm gonna edge with Saeed in this one. Just a few more threats.
Yeah, definitely going to be a very good scrap to look forward to. This right into the next one, we got Ricardo Ramos against Austin Lingo, featherweight scrap. Austin Lingo, 2-1 in the UFC, and his loss was to Youssef Zalal. Ricardo Ramos coming off the that spinning, another one of those spinning elbow TKOs against kind of TKO. He was hurt, Danny Chavez. He was on the brink of being out cold. But yeah, give me Ricardo Ramos, my fighter of the week. He's a super fun guy to watch. But yeah, I think he gets into a nice exchange and clips Lingo up. What you got, Dano?
I'm all over Ricardo Ramos, and I loved his last finish, his last fight against Danny Chavez. Really just froze him with that spinning elbow. He hit it, and Chavez just froze up, like you said, on the brink of being really put out real bad. Ramos is just one of those guys who, like Saeed, the fight before, he's got tools from everywhere. If Lingo wants to go to the ground, Ramos no stranger there. If he wants to stand up with him, Ramos is very dangerous on the feet. I love Ramos in this fight. I'm not a huge fan of Austin Lingo. I think Ramos is definitely parlay worthy, definitely worthy of maybe adding a few extra bucks to those bets. He's about as close to a lock as I got on this card as you can get. So definitely picking Ramos. This one will be fireworks.
Love it, love it. What you got, boss?
I'm gonna take Ramos too. Thing about it that makes me nervous is Austin Lingo hits like a fucking truck, and we've all seen Ricardo Ramos put himself in some very head scratching positions. So I think if Ricardo Ramos comes out, good IQ, very aware, I think that there's no reason he shouldn't win this fight. I think that he's just a slip up away from chaos in this fight, but I think he can hold it together. I think that he's going to be the fighter that's molding into that guy that's going to look like a challenger, a contender here soon. So give me Ricardo Ramos to get a submission victory in this. I'm going to take it round 2.
All right. Next fight up, we got the rescheduled main event from a couple weeks ago. Nikita Krylov, the Ukrainian, against Ryan Spann. Superman Spann. I'm gonna ride with Spann again, and just because he's the underdog, I do think Nikita is a super valid and very 50-50 of a fight for me in my head. But I just think that the one thing that Spann's got that Nikita doesn't in my head is that pop, one shot pop. Like if Nikita makes one wrong move and ends up on the end of Spann's punch, like he could really drop. We've seen it with Dom Reyes. We don't know if he's just chinny. I mean, he could be, but Ryan Spann does have pop in his hands. Give me Ryan Spann.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I like Spann in this one, and I had a few big worries, but looking at the card right now, they kind of answer it just a little bit. What I was worried about is they were scheduled to fight a couple weeks ago. Spann is a big dude. With that being a couple weeks ago, of course, Spann was not the one who pulled out. Krylov was, so Spann cut all that weight. And then he ballooned back up, I'm assuming, at once the fight fell through. He was like, screw it, I'm going to go add some more weight on. Now we're fighting a couple weeks later. I was worried that he wouldn't really get that weight off, but I see that it's at a catch weight 215. I think that really benefits Spann because they were already training for a 5-round main event. So I gotta hope the cardio is there from Spann. He's adding a few more pounds to him, which Krylov had the wrestling advantage. In my mind, he had the grappling advantage. If Spann's a little heavier, if he's got a little more oomph to him, it's going to be tougher for Krylov to take him down. What you were saying, Fish, totally right. Spann's got that pop on him. If we add some more pounds, which we're doing the catch weight, adds a little more oomph to his punches, makes him a little harder. I'm all over Spann in this one. We'll see how he looks in the weigh-ins because that will worry me, cutting weight twice in a short period of time. But I think it's going to benefit Spann here.
I love it.
I'm riding the same thing, bro. Let's go Spann. I picked him the first time. They fought, and now it's just even sweeter. You're telling me that he's not going to be, drained at all. Krylov isn't the biggest dude already, so this definitely isn't in his favor. But it's the least he can do after pulling out. So I think Spann by knockout. I've just seen Krylov get wobbled too many times to face a guy that's on the fucking bender with the physique that Ryan Spann has right now. So I'm going Ryan Spann by finish, and I'll take a KO, and I'll take it even in the first round.
Wow.
Ooh, love it. We got 2.5 minutes left. This next one, Alexander Volkov against Alexander Romanov. So I'm gonna pick Romanov, but his last fight really let me down. Just kind of didn't even seem like he wanted to be there, just kind of goofing around in there. It just seemed like he wanted to just give his O away. That's not a thing that a lot of fighters have, but one thing I have to say, I'm picking Romanov because he is nice with those arm, what are those called? The freaking arm choke shit, whatever the hell he's freaking nasty at. The forearm choke, that. And Volkov's last fight, he went down, or second to last fight, straight arm lock to Aspinall. So yeah, I see an exchange going down to the ground and Romanov ripping off one of those arm chokes. What you got, Dano?
I'm with you. I'm on Romanov in this one too, and a lot of people are gonna look up videos about this week, and when they get to Romanov, people are gonna say he gassed out. He looked real good against Tiberian, he gassed out. We got to remember that he was up in Salt Lake on that pay-per-view where everyone was gassing out. In those first couple minutes, Romanov was super, super dominant. I think that he's going to throw around Volkov, to be honest. I think Volkov on the feet can definitely piece him up, and I think he will have the striking advantage. But I trust Romanov to get inside, get some takedowns, throw him up against the fence, knee that thigh, and then drag him down. And then, like you were saying, Fish, he's very good once it gets to the ground. So I'm on Romanov. I think Volkov is going to have a tough night out. And I could even see a finish as well.
Love it. What you got? You got about 60 seconds, Mace, less.
All right. We're on the Volkov fight. I think that Volkov's going to win because I don't see Romanov being able to put him away fast enough. I do think he's going to gas. So I feel like I'm just zooming out and just thinking, I'm just trying to simplify it a little bit for myself. I just don't think Romanov is there yet. Like Volkov is a massive dude. And I know we saw Aspinall do it, but I feel like Aspinall's got way more versatility in his submission game. And I think that a guy like Romanov needs to catch you in his signature 2 or 3 things. And if he can't do that, then, it's a really.
On to the main event. We got a bantamweight scrap, Petr Yan, Merab Dvalishvili, and I'm pretty convinced that Petr Yan is gonna have his way in there. I don't think I think he stuffs a couple takedowns and lays the hands on Merab. But what you got, Dano?
Yeah, man, I think Yan needs this one, like desperately needs this one. We're talking about Petr Yan, who was the former champ of the division. Of course, he had that knee with Aldo, which lost him the belt. He goes back. He's got the weird fight with Aljo where he doesn't have his cornerman. Aljo kind of just wipes rounds away from wrestling him, and he loses again, and then he gets the infamous Sean O'Malley fight where after he lost a close decision. You can think about that however you want, but I remember him after the fight going, I'm not fighting here anymore. This league's out to get me, this organization. They don't want me here. So he's got a lot on his plate going into this one. Luckily, he's got a main event in front of a bunch of people against a pretty game opponent. Merab, I don't think he's going to be able to do to Yan what he did to Aldo, which was just pressure him up against the fence, kind of stall out a little bit, be a little bit boring. Knee the thigh. I think Jan's going to be too offensive to let that happen. He's going to be dirty boxing in those clinch situations. He's going to be throwing uppercuts. He's going to be throwing knees. It's not going to want Merab to keep going to that. So if this does get stuck on the feet, Jan's very, very dangerous on the feet. If you want to go back, he fought Corey Sandhagen, which was a crazy, just pretty much a kickboxing fight the whole 5 rounds. So he's definitely a threat on the feet, we all know. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we see Yan shooting a couple of takedowns, just mixing it up, just getting in Merab's head, kind of not letting Merab get comfortable. This will be a tough fight. This will be a banger of a fight unless Merab takes over. But I just don't see, even let's say Merab does get some takedowns. Let's say he gets even 1 takedown per round, couple takedowns per round. I don't think Jan's going to be able to stay there. I think Jan's good enough to get up. He's at least good enough to just get some scrambles and get some movement on the ground. Like you said, I think this is in favor of Petr Yan. I think he's got a lot to prove, and he's got that chip on his shoulder, and I think we're going to see a pretty good fight from him this week. So I'm going to stick with Petr Yan. I have no idea how this is going to end up, whether like decision, submission, all that, because I think if I looked at the rankings correctly, this is number 3 versus number 4. So we're going to get a very high touted fight in this one, and I am very excited, but I am picking Petr Yan.
Yeah, hopefully Petr could get on the right side of the coin flip this time. But yeah, this dude, he's gonna come out, rip those leg kicks. He's gonna do what he does when he's striking. But yeah, hard dude to submit. I'm loving it. But let's go with Petr Yan. I'm sure the boys are on the same page as us. But another thing with Merab, never fought a 5-rounder, so this is first main event. Peter's been there, done that. So yeah, those are the picks for Vegas 71. Dano and I, we out.
Closing it out, a couple things. We do have SD Dumas on this card. We also do have Victor Henry on this card. The Geeks have had interviews with both of them. I'll make sure I get up on our Twitter and I'll post them out. They are very, very good interviews for the Victor Henry one and a very funny interview for the SD Dumas one. So definitely check those out and support the boys.
Yep, support the boys. We got some fellow geeks fighting on this card. All right, boys, stay tuned to this weekend. We'll catch you boys soon.